Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Ken Norton. I'm the owner of Panama Properties, located here in Panama. We have offices in Pedasí, Panama City, in Cascaviejo, and Boquete. So I just had some people in my office, and oddly enough, being a real estate company, we have people sit in front of us looking to buy property, and quite often I get asked this question, which seems a little bit too late, but is a question I get asked quite often, which is, can foreigners own property in Panama? So the resounding yes, or the resounding question, the resounding offer to that question is a resounding yes. Okay? And it is very, very easy for foreigners to own property in Panama. In fact, it's one of the reasons why I'm here. I lived in Asia for a long time, and in Asia, it is quite often difficult for foreigners to own property. So it's one of the reasons why I found my way to Panama, was because as a foreigner, I can own property with no problem. And according to the Panamanian Constitution and the law, I have all the same rights and protections as a Panamanian citizen, as would you as a foreigner owning property in Panama as well. So that was a huge contributing factor for me making my choice of coming here. On top of that, you don't even need to be a resident to own property in Panama. You can buy property here simply with your passport, and it is completely legal and above board. So there's no limitations on the type of property that you can own, whether it's residential, commercial, agricultural, condo in the city, beachfront property in Pedasí. It doesn't make a single difference. You have the ability and the right to own property here. The only exceptions to the rule is due to national security, because Panama doesn't want to see neighboring countries encroach into their country. There is a restricted zone of about 10 kilometers prohibiting non-nationals, i.e. foreigners, from owning property within 10 kilometers of the Costa Rican and Colombian border. Now, a way around this is where it gets into ROP, or right of possession land, is quite often within those areas that they've set it up that basically you kind of have a right of possession, so you don't have a title piece of land and then you build a home on that. It's kind of like having a 99-year lease, but a little bit more complicated and a little bit of a better system. And that is the one type of ROP that I do support. Most other ROPs I don't. And that gets into our next topic here, which is titled versus right of possession. So foreigners can legally purchase titled property here, which is recorded into the public registry, which is a very modern and robust and digital system that they have. However, some rural areas, some areas down in the beach towns, like I mentioned, places like Bocas del Toro, which is near Costa Rica, you're going to see a lot more right of possession land up there. And that means it's not officially titled and it's not registered, but it can be sold and traded, but you can run into problems sometimes on that type of land. So you got to be extra special careful. It's not my area of expertise. I tend to choose not to deal with ROP land because I don't like setting up my buyer clients into those types of problems. I always say I don't want to be part of anybody's horror story. So how do you buy property in Panama? It's pretty simple. You find a guy like me, or you find a real estate company or a realtor, and you have them find you properties and show you properties and walk you through the process. Then you make an offer. I've gone into the real estate buying process before in another video. Please check that one out. You hire a lawyer. Ideally, you listen to a company like Panama Properties, who's going to recommend you a decent lawyer that we've worked with hundreds of times. Sign the final contract, goes into the public registry, make your payments, go from there. Then the title's transferred. Again, please watch the other video that I made. I don't want to repeat everything over and over in the videos. Should you buy a property as an individual, as a corporation, or as a foundation? You can do any of those three. However, with the majority of my clients, and I've talked about this in a previous video as well, I recommend a foundation if you're only going to hold the property as an asset. If you're going to run a business on it, like an Airbnb, that's a different conversation. And I'm not a big supporter of holding the property in personal names, especially for us foreigners that are living here. Panama is really popular for buying property because of these rights, but also we operate on the US dollar. We also have low property taxes, which was my video that I made at the end of last week. There's a lot of retiree incentives, such as the discounts for people on the pensionado visa, and we have a fairly modern infrastructure here, and things are rapidly improving pretty much every month. So, if you are interested in investing into Panama because of all these reasons, please give me a shout or contact Panama Properties. My information is at the bottom of this. My email, my phone number, my WhatsApp, we all live on WhatsApp in Panama, is all over the webpage where you're reading this article or watching this video. So once again, my name's Ken Norton. This is Panama Properties. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it helped to educate you, and I hope I can be your advisor one day. Have a good day.